Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Tall Tales of TallGamer. Donald Harris, and today we have Robin Arnott.
Hello.
Good intro there.
Thank
and you'll notice that we're not in a bar today. We're actually in one of my favorite game stores in all of Texas, Apollo Games. Definitely follow Apollo, so you guys need to check them out. And obviously, if you're in the Round Rock area, swing by the store. A lot of great goods over here. So, Mr. Arnott.
Hello.
How you doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm tired. I've been processing a lot this
Wait,
week.
wait. You just now got back from Burning Man.
I just got back from Burning Man.
So I don't know if that's necessarily processing or partying.
Oh, it's processing. It's a lot of everything. It's a week-long event, and it's definitely not a vacation. It's we brought SoundSelf in a structure out there, and yeah. So that was definitely a very intense process. But right now I'm kind of just in a space of digesting all of that and becoming a normal human being again. Yeah.
Right on.
I was playing when I got back. I just played Dishonored for 2 days, and that was what I did when I got back. I was like, don't call me, don't talk to me. I'm just playing video games.
Right on, man. So now, with SoundSelf, since you brought it up, what now? Before SoundSelf, I know you did. You've done a couple of other games.
Yeah.
Deep Sea was another experimental game. But before we even touch any of those things, what got you into games? I mean, like when I look at your history, it says movies, and
yeah. So when I was back in the day, before I moved to Texas, back when I was in college, I went to NYU for film. I long time ago wanted to direct film, eventually found that what I was really interested in the film world was sound. I really enjoyed how expressive sound could be and how you could use sound to kind of get under people's skin without them recognizing it. And so I did sound design for film, or I was studying to do sound design for film, and eventually just realized games are a lot more interesting. You know, if I have a 40-year or whatever career ahead of me before I die, then I want to be participating in something really new. I want to be participating in changing the world in a little modest way. And yeah, and there's just so much more exciting stuff happening in games than there was in film, and I didn't even know about independent games at the time. You know, I was just thinking about the AAA stuff I was playing. And even that just seemed so much more progressive and interesting, and with so much more room for growth than what I was seeing in film. And so I started becoming interested in doing sound for games, and that started by me doing some modding work and trying to look for a job in the AAA as a sound designer. But I was working on Deep Sea on that project, and it got picked up by the NYU Game Center for no quarter, and from there, I just kind of, I was kind of injected into this path that I never really planned for myself, which was making weird, arty games. And I found I really liked it, and stuff that I was making, people seemed to really respond to. And so here I am, sometime later.
Right on. Now, and you touched on Deep Sea.
Yeah.
So Deep Sea, I think, was one of the first games that I became familiar with your work, personally.
Yeah.
And I would call it an experimental game. It's definitely a game. And then that one, I remember. For those of you who don't know what Deep Sea is, I'm going to try.
I like hearing people describe it.
It's you put on a mask. You're completely cut off from the world, and you have to depend on sound to navigate. And I think there was a monster or something. You were underwater, and
you're blinded, so you can't see anything.
Yeah, it's creepy. And then I remember you were showing it at night. At this one,
Game on Austin.
Was it Game on Austin?
I think it might have been.
Okay, I don't know. I go to too many parties, but yeah, it was interesting, and I was thinking to myself, okay, the game's already scary enough. Now you're doing this at night, and you're just gonna freak people out, right? So now, is that something that you want to continue going into? Because I know that with SoundSelf, it's another experiment.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
very experimental. And well, first off, how did you even come up with SoundSelf?
So, drugs. SoundSelf came... Well, there's no SoundSelf without Deep Sea. I talk about SoundSelf... When I talk about SoundSelf, I describe it as a follow-up to Deep Sea. Because even though they're incredibly different games, SoundSelf wouldn't exist without Deep Sea. There's so much technology and so much, I guess, innovation in the way that I'm using player perception that I first started exploring in Deep Sea, and that it carries over from Deep Sea. There are a lot of techniques that are directly carried over from Deep Sea. We're just applying them in a dramatically different way. So I'd been kind of thinking, what happened with Deep Sea is I was just making this experiment. I didn't know how it would work, but I wanted to see how deeply immersed I could get a player in an experience. And I knew from my experience as a gamer playing a game like Dead Space, and I still love Dead Space, fear is a way of really getting into... when you... That fear response just cuts away all your logic. Once you feel afraid, you just suck into animal mode and just be very hyper attuned and hyper present. And so that's what I was experimenting with Deep Sea, I kind of, it just worked. I mean, Deep Sea worked really well, a lot more well than I anticipated. And I spent like probably 2 years trying to work out why it worked. Because I didn't know. It just like somebody fainted playing it at South by Southwest, and they fainted because of oxygen deprivation. Because the game encourages you to not breathe. Right. And this is one of the things that I've discovered about the game since that.
You don't want to kill a gamer. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons I've stopped showing Deep Sea quite so much. So yeah, somebody fainted playing it. A lot of people would come out of it and just not talk for many minutes because they were just not themselves. They were really terrified, and I didn't know why. So I spent 2 years trying to work out why it worked, and writing about it and talking about it. But really, writing about it and talking about it weren't really me being an expert and sharing all these things. It was me trying to work out why it worked. And the stuff I learned about perception, about the subjectivity of truth, about how we build our impression of the universe and truth, and how Deep Sea totally accidentally jacked into the player's brain in a way that stopped them being able to logic their way out of feeling something really present and really true. Those discoveries are carried over directly to SoundSelf, but instead of being applied accidentally and later discovered, I'm now taking these discoveries and building an experience around them. But instead of a terrifying experience, I'm trying to create a kind of a euphoric, blissful experience.
Right, extending yourself into the sound.
Yeah. Feeling a sense of disillusion of self as something separate from everything around us. Which people who meditate a lot might experiencing this. People who take the right hallucinogens and the right dosage will experiencing this. This is your perception of self, of where I end and everything else begins, is something that it's very it's a program, and it's a very hardwired program, but you can circumvent that, and SoundSelf is my attempt at circumventing that and creating an expansive, or at least permitting an expansive sense of self for the player. Drugs.
Indeed. Yeah, drugs. So, bottom line, drugs.
Yeah.
No, so now, one of the things with SoundSelf, so I've been doing a little bit of reading on it and seeing where it's been shown and things like that. A lot of people are saying, hey, this isn't a game.
Yeah.
And, like, for me, the word game, I understand it has a definition. And it has to be this and it has to be that. I like the fact that it doesn't fit any of those categories, but, like, as the creator of it, how does that make you feel like?
Sure. Well, I don't think it really fits any category because it's, and I don't say this with ego or like, oh, this is brand new, brilliant, but it's new. It doesn't really fit. This kind of experience doesn't really fit any existing category that I can think of. It's not exactly a game. It's definitely not a toy. It's not exactly a tool, although you can use it as any of these things. My feeling with the conversation that I felt really started to kick off around the time of Proteus and Dear Esther, of, are these technically games, echoes to me the conversation about, are games technically art, This is, the usefulness of that conversation seems to be more about words than about the experiences the words are describing, and they seem to and those words are useful. It's useful to have these conversations about what these words mean, so that you know where to stack the right things on the shelf, so that people can look for them. But I think for me, the choice of this particular word, game, is not because it's a system with rules to be exploited, because it's not. It's about the mindset somebody comes into the experience with. And by calling it a game, I think that has a lot of associations that primes a player into the experience they're about to enjoy. If you call something a movie, for example, the person about to enjoy a movie settles into a space where they are prepared to sit for multiple hours, longer than 1 hour, and observe passively in a darkened room, whereas you call something a TV show, and that creates a different set of expectations. Right. And the set of expectations that I think a person has with the word game is, this is an extended experience that I'm going to have to deliberately invest myself into, and it's interactive. And there's a whole lot of other assumptions that a person could make with that word, but I think just the mindset a person gets themselves into when they think, I'm about to play a game, I'm about to play a video game, is the mindset I want somebody getting into when they start to play SoundSelf.
What about the mindset of, I want to achieve a goal? Right. Yeah. So when I'm playing a game, I want to beat that game, or I want to get to X number of levels, or whatever. Like, what would that goal be in SoundSelf?
I don't think people actually enter a game experience thinking that. I think they enter a game experience looking for a kind of a powerful interactive opportunity to reflect and to play in a system. And I think that the system tells you, here's your goal, which is the way a player frames how they're going to approach this experience from the point they're told that. But I don't think, certainly when you start to play Super Meat Boy, you know enough about Super Meat Boy that you probably are thinking, I am looking for a challenging experience.
Or I'm looking to curse and throw my controller.
Or I'm looking to curse and throw my controller,
That's what I do. So.
But if you're picking up a Kirby game or something, that's a game. That's definitely a goal-oriented game. But the person picking up a Kirby game probably isn't looking for a challenge. They're probably looking for kind of a whimsical, somewhat narrative experience. And I think that somebody picking up Proteus, if they know enough about the game, probably isn't looking for a goal. They're also probably looking for a kind of whimsical experience. So my hope is that players picking up SoundSelf won't necessarily be looking for a goal with achievements and to be told you did a great job, but will be looking just to have an intense interactive experience.
With themselves.
Yeah, with themselves and with the system. And I think it does that. It definitely doesn't use goals, or at least explicit goals, as a tool to do that, but I think it does provide a really intense interactive experience.
Cool, man. Right on. Well, so now, I saw that you guys got the Oculus Rift.
Oh my god, it's awesome.
And you're putting SoundSelf on that. And is there a finish line that you have that you?
I really, really, really. So this is a really niche game. It's really weird. SoundSelf is. I think it's. We talked at the beginning about it being experimental, and it's definitely an experiment. It's weird. It's hard to describe. And so I've kind of got a goal with myself, because the Oculus Rift is also weird. It's new and weird, but it's weird in a way that fits the narrative of gamers' expectations and dreams since the early 80s, It's like fulfilling a dream that we've had for decades. But at the same time... right? But at the same time, people don't really know what to expect when they open that door. They just know it's a door to something new and exciting, and there's a lot of really cool new and exciting stuff being developed to support the Rift. It's not as... the Rift is definitely not it's definitely not best expressed in existing first-person shooter games and things like that. The best experiences for that, behind that door, are ones that are designed with virtual reality particularly in mind. So I really want to launch with the Rift, because I feel like if we can launch with the Rift, then gamers will... That's a point where gamers are going to be really looking for new kinds of experiences and be willing to challenge their expectations of what what they might be, of what they might think they're going to enjoy, or what they might think that they're after in an interactive experience.
Well, do you want to give some information on where they can go to learn about SoundSelf?
Yeah, our website is soundselfgame.com. We're on Facebook if you search for SoundSelf. I think it's facebook.com/soundselfgame. I am Video Dreaming on Twitter. And we are looking to actually reopen our alpha so people can either pre-order or buy into the alpha again sometime this coming week, and that'll be directly through our website.
Okay, cool, man. Well, thanks so much for your time.
Ronald.
I appreciate it, man. And thank everybody for watching. Please subscribe and share this video. Peace.
Bye.
Please support Operation Supply Drop.